Buy Black Podcast, Episode 4B, The Essential Elements of a Business Model and How You Can Draft Yours Using a Single Sheet of Paper. You'll have to forgive me for this episode and the next few. I'm traveling these weeks, and I forgot to pack the USB that has my show intro and exit on it. So no music today. We're just going to jump right into the show. Hello and welcome back for the second installment in the Buy Black podcast series on breaking free from the chains of employment to establish your own business. In episode 4A, we covered the 6 things that we've been misled to believe we must have to start a business, but we really don't. And the 3 crucial elements that we do need. So again, those 6 elements we don't need were a degree, your own money, business cards, an established business entity like an LLC or a corporation, a website and a logo, and an original idea. The 3 things that you do need are a real or perceived problem, a viable solution to that problem, and a consumer or business market that is willing and able to pay for your solution. If you're just joining the community or want to revisit that topic, you can find the link in the description for this show. In this episode, we're covering the essential elements of a business model and how you can draft yours on a single sheet of paper. I came across much of the information I'm going to share with you today when I was planning to start my own business, and I purchased a book called Business Model Generation, designed to help people and teams develop or improve their business models. That book changed my entire outlook on building a business. The curtain fell, the wizard was exposed, and the magic was gone. I knew immediately that creating a business is just a process, and I'm a process guy. All right, I can follow a process. I can master a process. And hopefully by the end of this show, you'll see that you too can master the process of developing a business model. So let's just jump right into it. The first element of a business model is your value proposition. This is the solution you're offering to the problem, real or perceived, that your potential customers have. Your value proposition is also closely tied to your company's mission, the statement of what your organization exists to do. For example, my mission statement for this project is to be the beacon that draws consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. My value proposition is that I provide Black business owners with affordable exposure to a wide audience of their target customers. I also provide you, socially conscious consumers, a one-stop shop to find, get to know, like, and trust, and buy from the Black-owned businesses that it is so difficult for you to find in the market. It's as simple as that. The problem? Black business owners and socially conscious consumers have a hard time finding and connecting with each other to exchange goods and services. My mission? Bring you guys together to solve that problem. My value proposition is what I provide for each group that solves the problem. Now, the second element of a business model is your customer segment or your customer segments. This is the group or groups who directly benefit from your value proposition. So in my example, I have 2 primary customer segments, socially conscious consumers and Black business owners. And these can and probably should be niched down even further to the point where you can close your eyes and see an image of the person that you're trying to serve. For example, instead of me saying, I am creating this podcast for socially conscious consumers, it'd probably be more accurate to say that I'm creating this podcast for consumers who recognize the impact of Black economics on social stability, who are actively looking to contribute to the Black economy, and they do a fair amount of research into companies before deciding to buy. They have at least some college experience and are more concerned with paying for quality than for the name brands. They are fiercely loyal and actively advocate for the companies that they decide to support. Do you see the difference there between just saying a socially conscious consumer and giving you a full rundown description of what that person looks like and acts like? You're probably already picturing 2 or 3 specific people that you know right now. And by the way, if you are, I'd really appreciate it if you reach out and direct those guys to this podcast. Now, moving into the next elements of your business model. The third and fourth are your distribution channels or delivery channels, and then also customer relationships. What methods do you use to deliver value to your customer segments, and what are you doing to build and cultivate the relationships they have with you and your business? Customer relationships is all about your marketing strategy. the tools and methods that you will use to acquire new customers, make them fall in love with your culture, help them connect with each other, and become your brand ambassadors to the world. And backing it up, one of the huge pieces to this is helping the people in your customer segment connect with each other. If you can get the people who follow you to start talking to each other without you even being there on your behalf or on subjects associated with your brand, now you're really building an active and engaged following. Companies like Starbucks do this extremely well. How you make your customers feel appreciated and connected will be the difference between having a ready supply of repeat or upsell opportunities versus constantly spending a lot of money on marketing and advertising to bring in new business. Just like with employees, keeping and promoting a happy customer is much less expensive than going out to find a new one. So the 4 components we just discussed, customer segments, value proposition, distribution or delivery channels, and customer relationship management, all make up the right side of a tool called the Business Model Canvas. This canvas is another resource from that book, Business Model Generation, that I mentioned earlier, and you can find it in the book's companion website at www.strategizer.com. That's STRATEGYZER.com. And don't worry, I will have the link to that site in the episode description for you. At this site, you can set up a free account to get access to a blank PDF version of the business model canvas, which is what you're going to use to draft your full business model on a single sheet of paper. We'll talk more on that later, but first, let's cover the remaining elements of a business model. To the left of your value proposition are the key activities that your business conducts to create value, the key resources that it must access and use to conduct its activities, and the key partnerships that it leverages to acquire resources and conduct those activities. When you put all of those pieces together from left to right, you will see a logical flow for your model. You leverage partnerships and use resources to conduct the key activities that create your value. Then you build relationships with your target customers by communicating and delivering that value to solve their problems. When you lay it out this way, a business model is not so complex, and we're left with one final component, the money. So at the bottom of the business model canvas, there are 2 sections. Under the left side, with partnerships, resources, activities, and creating value, you have the cost structure. What investments and expenses are required to consistently deliver your value proposition. Under the right side, with delivering value, customer relationships, distribution channels, and your target customer segments, you have your revenue streams, the different ways that you collect income from the value that you deliver to your customer segments. This is the key component that makes your business model real. Any project that involves using resources has a cost. So there will always be a cost structure. But if you don't have a plan to monetize, to collect revenue, then you don't have a business. You have a really expensive hobby. Never be ashamed to get paid for the value that you create and deliver to others. So there it is. You've got all the components. To do a quick recap, the essential elements of a business model are your value proposition, your target customer segments who receive that value, niche down and able to be described in detail, your customer relationship management plan, your distribution and delivery channels, your key partnerships, key activities, and key resources that you use to create that value, and then finally rounding it out with your cost structure and your revenue streams. You can capture all of this on a single sheet of paper by using the Business Model Canvas tool that I talked about earlier. And hopefully by now, you've actually downloaded a copy and you're looking over it as we're talking. Aside from simplifying the whole business model concept, the thing I love about the Canvas is that it can give you insight on how to improve an existing business model or make key modifications that can sprout a whole new industry. So for example, I'm going to use the cliche Uber. Everybody loves to use Uber as their example in whatever great business idea they have. I don't care. It's great for this one. So take a look at Uber. If you start with the idea of a taxi company and you were to write down the business model of a taxi company into the business model canvas, they have basically the same value proposition, customer segment, as well as revenue streams as Uber does. But when you switch out customer relationship management and delivery channels and key resources and the partnerships, now you have something completely different. I can't guarantee that you'll create the next industry disrupting company using this model, but you will be able to flesh out your business idea and experiment with the components to make it even better. So now that we've looked at all the essential elements of a business model and we've talked about the business model canvas tool, what I want to do is use some of the same examples that we did in the last episode, the 3 business models: retail arbitrage, pizza box topper advertising, and window washing, to break down how those companies would look if you were to sketch them out on a business model canvas. So if you're following me on this, go ahead and pull up that business model canvas PDF, print out a couple of copies if you want, and walk with me as we lay out what the business models look like for these 3 examples. So we'll start with retail arbitrage, starting with the value proposition. The value proposition in retail arbitrage is to provide access to products for consumers that want and need them. The customer segment is basically anybody who patronizes online sales platforms, whether they be Amazon, Google, or your own online store that you build for your company. Customer relationship management plan can span anything from simply sending follow-up emails after a person purchases your product to sending them emails asking for reviews of you as a seller on platforms like Amazon and eBay. Or if you have your own online sales platform, you can actually capture their email address, and then you can maintain a communication with your customers through email by offering them discounts, by offering them promotions and specials, however you want to go about it. So there are multiple different ways that this retail arbitrage business or online wholesaling business can be managed using a customer relationship management plan. Now, delivery channels. How do I get the products to the people? Hey, that's going to be USPS, it'll be FedEx, it'll be UPS, or if you send your products to Amazon through FBA, then it'll be Amazon shipping. Key activities. Well, one, I've got to go out and I got to source products. I've got to go out and find those products. So I'm either going into the stores looking for clearance products, or I'm contacting wholesale distributors and I'm just ordering units from them. So that's one key activity. If I don't have products, I can't sell them. Another key activity would be listing those products. So actually getting those products up on eBay, Amazon, or my own personal online store. And then another major one would be if I'm selling on Amazon and I'm using Amazon's FBA or Fulfillment by Amazon program, then actually shipping those products into Amazon so that they can put them in their warehouse for sale. So those are 3 key activities that you would have in the retail arbitrage or online wholesaling business. Key resources. 1, I got to have cash to buy products. Right? If I'm doing retail arbitrage, that means that I'm traveling around to different stores trying to source products. So I have to have a vehicle. I have to have transportation. So that's a key resource there. If I'm selling online on established platforms like eBay and Amazon, I've got to have accounts with those platforms. And it's very likely that I'm going to have certain fees associated with that, which will come in the cost structure, what we're going to talk about next. And then also, if I have my own online store, my own platform, that is also a key resource that I'm going to use to conduct my business. Next, we have key partnerships. If I'm selling on Amazon and eBay or any other online location, those are key partnerships that help me run my business. If I'm buying wholesale directly from distributors, those distributors are key partners that keep my business going. And then if I'm doing retail arbitrage, hey, if I'm going to the same stores over and over again, looking for these products as they go on clearance, there's nothing wrong with me connecting with the managers of those stores and saying, hey, when you have a bunch of stuff going on clearance, give me a call, shoot me an email, let me know so I can come out and get these products and clear them off of your clearance aisles. So those would be key partnerships as well, those managers of retail stores. Now moving to the bottom of your business model canvas, starting at the left with your cost structure. On this business, hey, sourcing products is going to cost. Traveling around trying to find those products is going to cost. If you have your own online store, you're probably going to have to pay for advertising, any type of pay-per-click to get people to go to your store. Or if you have your own private label products, you may even want to pay for advertising on Amazon's platform. So these are all costs that would go into running your business. You've also got shipping costs, you have sales fees, you have subscription fees for those websites like Amazon. And then, of course, some things are going to get returned, and that is also a cost to your business. I'm sure there's several other costs that are in here, but these are some of the key major costs that you would have to deal with running that business. And then finally, you have your revenue streams, and that's all just going to come from sales. Sales on Amazon, sales on eBay, Etsy, your own online platform, any other platforms that you're on. And so that really just breaks down the basics of what that business model looks like running a retail arbitrage or an online retail business. All right, so now let's move from a retail business to the advertising business. Talking about doing the Pizza Box Topper advertising program. How would that business model look in the business model canvas? So let's start this time by looking at your customer segments. So in this advertising business, you've actually got 3 primary customer segments. You have the pizza company that you're actually providing these box toppers to so that they can send them out. You have the advertisers who are purchasing advertising space on those box toppers. And then you also have the people who are buying those pizzas. Yes, they are part of your customer segment, even though they're not paying you any money. If you get advertisers that don't connect with those people buying the pizzas, well, then they're not going to patronize those advertisers, which means those advertisers aren't going to come back to you to pay for the next round and to continue being a customer. So you've definitely got to consider, hey, what is the end user actually going to be looking for? Which advertisers are going to have the greatest impact for those buyers? So they are definitely one of your primary customer segments. Now, moving from that to value proposition, there's a different value proposition for each customer segment. For your pizza company, hey, they're getting free advertising. In this model, you're basically going to provide these pizza box toppers to the pizza company for free in exchange for them actually sending them out on their pizza box tops. And the way Jay explains it on his show, which again is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, if you haven't downloaded it yet, I highly recommend it. But the way Jay explains it on his show is that you offer something like, hey, I'm going to have 16 advertising slots on this sheet. I'm going to give you the top 4 of them for your 4 best promotions that you've got going on right now. So you get 4 free advertising slots, and I'm giving you these pizza box toppers to put on your pizzas that are going out. The only thing I ask for you is that you're going to actually put them on top of your pizzas when you send them out and put them in front of customers. So they get free advertising. Now, for the other advertisers who actually purchase the other 12 spaces from you, they're going to get low cost, long exposure advertising in people's homes. So the value that they're getting is that instead of having to go out and buying a 15 or 30-second commercial spot, they're going to get their business put in front of these potential buyers continuously for a 2 to 3 month period, depending on how long it takes to go through those 5,000 or 10,000 pizza box toppers that you deliver to the company. And then for the folks buying those pizzas, the value proposition that you're giving them is that they are getting exposure to local businesses that can fulfill their needs, which they may otherwise have never been able to find. So you notice, by doing this one thing, you are providing value to 3 completely different customer segments. Moving over to customer relationships, hey, here it's just all about face-to-face relationship building. You're going into the pizza company and you're pitching this to the pizza company. You're going into these advertisers and you're showing them what it would look like to have their ads on these pizza box toppers. You're building those relationships. You're going back to them and you're finding out, hey, are you seeing an uptick in sales or in your clients? Are they saying that they came in because of the pizza box toppers? What can we do to make the ad work better for you? You know, do you have any referrals, other businesses who would like to fill one of these slots? So it's all about face-to-face, going door-to-door, building those relationships in this business. When it comes to delivery channels, again, you've got basically 3 different delivery channels. You're delivering these free box toppers to the restaurant. You're delivering prominent ad placement to the local businesses. And then you're delivering through distribution of those toppers to the homes by that restaurant. So moving over to the left-hand side, talking about key activities. One key activity you'd have to do in this business is go out and source advertisers. I've got to find the right pizza company. I've got to find the right small businesses in the area who would most benefit from this advertising. Another key activity, hey, not every one of these small businesses will already have advertising. They may not have graphics design. And so a key activity might be designing the ads that you're going to place for these companies that buy them from you. Another key activity, printing out the sheets printing out those pizza box toppers and delivering them to the restaurant. Again, there's several other activities, but these are some of the key activities that you must do in order to make this business work. Key resources that you've got to have the right paper, a thick, glossy paper that's going to hold up to all the steam that's going to come off of a pizza box. You're probably going to have graphics design software if you're doing the graphics designing in-house, and any other resources that you would need in order to make this business work. And moving over to key partnerships, obviously your pizza restaurant, they're a client, but they're also a key partnership. If you're not doing your graphics design of these advertisements in-house, then you're going to have graphic designers. You're going to have a printing company. These are all partners that you're going to work with in order to deliver value to your customer segments. And then going down to costs. The costs here are pretty simple. I got to pay for the paper. I got to pay for design fees. I got to pay for printing fees and other basic costs like that. Revenue is all about advertising sales. When I sell advertisement placement to those businesses, I collect the money in revenue. That's what's fueling this entire process. So again, different industry. We're going from retail to advertising, but you can see all the components of this model can go on one single sheet of paper, and you can have a quick, clean visual of exactly what your business looks like that you can work from, that you can show to potential investors or potential lenders. It's a great tool to be able to see everything that you should be considering at a moment's notice. So the last example that we're going to go through today, we're going to move now into a service-based business like window washing. So starting again over there on the right-hand side with our customer segment, this is going to be the businesses that have the storefronts that we're going to be washing windows for. The value proposition that those businesses are getting, hey, clean windows that are going to highlight their products and services, make them look more professional to potential customers. Customer relationships, this again is door-to-door, customer relationship building. You may be able to offer, discounts for referrals to other businesses and things like that. Another key thing that might work here, if I'm washing windows and I've got a regular route, it wouldn't be a problem for me to have like a sticker made up, just said, these windows washed by Gerald Jones Cleaning, some kind of sales line, have the brightest windows in town, call me at blah, 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 blah. Hey, can I put this sticker on the corner of your window after I clean it? Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. Boom. Now you got your advertising out there. So people are walking by, they're seeing these clean windows. I want to have windows that clean. They get your number off of your sticker. And that's another way that you're building relationships. So there's all different ways for you to build in marketing, even in a basic business like storefront window washing. So delivery channels. Delivering the value in this case is really simple. I clean the windows. That's also the key activity, right? You got to source clients and you got to clean windows. Those are your key activities in a service-based business like this. When it comes to resources, I've got to have cleaning supplies. I've got to have transportation to get to my routes. And I got to have marketing supplies if I do something like those stickers that I was just talking about. And then key partnerships, that all depends on how you run your model. You may bring on a partner within the business. You may look to partner with another window washing company that's out there and just subcontract with them. Say, hey, I will cover a portion of your route for this amount of money. There's so many different ways to do that. Or if your route gets too big, you could do it the other way. You could subcontract out to independent contractors and say, hey, you cover this portion of my route and I will pay you this amount out of the total revenues that we bring in. So there's multiple different ways for you to create partnerships and grow in a window washing business. Last things, looking at the cost, you got your supply costs, you have your marketing material costs, you have transportation costs. It's really simple when you start talking about a service-based business. And then revenue is all about the accounts that you have. If I have a certain route that I go through, and let's say I have 20 businesses that are on that route, those businesses pay me on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, or on a per cleaning basis, whatever those things are. When I go and collect my revenues on those routes, hey, there's my revenue streams. That's what's fueling the entire business. So that's our show for today, guys. I hope this was really helpful for you to be able to see this business model canvas in action in 3 completely different industries. Doesn't matter what your industry is, doesn't matter how big or small your business is. This is a really great tool to help you get a picture of all the things that you should be considering when you're going to start your business. And if you already have a business, a lot of times people haven't taken the time or known how to lay out all of these different components. So you can take this tool, you can look at your business that you're already running, and you can fill in the blanks and then really get a good picture of, hey, where am I really creating the most value? Where are some places where I could increase my efficiencies and create more value? Or where could I decrease costs, change my cost structure? Or am I leaving money on the table? Am I delivering value to a customer segment right now and not charging any money for it? So this is a really great tool to just help you get your mind around where you are today and what you can do to make things better tomorrow. If you have any questions or you need any help developing your own business idea, I would love to help you out with that. Shoot me an email at gjones@buyblackpodcast.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Buy Black Podcast, or you can join our Buy Black Podcast community Facebook group to continue this conversation with me and other members of the community. If you've got experience using the business model canvas or building business models, I would love for you to share that with us. You can do that by posting in the comments on this episode or in the Buy Black Podcast community Facebook group, as I mentioned a moment ago. You can find the link to that group under the tools and resources in the episode description. Join me in the next installment of this series when we'll discuss the different types of business entities and the advantages and disadvantages that come with each. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll catch you in the next episode.